Hello, everybody. We're back. Thanks for watching that break, and thanks for giving me a couple seconds to get things sorted. So, as it turned out, just so everyone's aware of what's going on, Billowy had mistyped his PayPal in the payout forms. So, after the cast is done, I'm going to have to go, I guess, find refunds or cancel payments on those ones that had gone out, and then pay him the money he's missing. But that will take no time at all, and I'll do it as we pay out the winners from this cup. I was talking with Pig about this during the break. Like, we're pretty adamant about wanting to make sure that we do this right and we don't screw anybody over. So little hiccups like that do alarm me because I want to make sure that everybody actually gets their prize money at the end of the day. So sorry for the little bit of distraction towards the end of the last game. But we are good, and we should be good going through to these finals. Snute and Elazer are ready. Let's get into this ZvZ. It's a best of 5, and it's the grand finals for this week's Corsair Cup. I'm glad to have an expert Zerg with me for these particular games.
Although this is my calling in life, man, to cast Zerg versus Zerg. Well, every tournament I ever cast, this is my job.
Well, you know, actually, more recently I've really been enjoying ZvZ. ZombieGrub and I got a really awesome series that had both Muta versus Muta with Bly. We had the Roaches in game number 2. It was like a mix of everything you want to see. For me, I only really moan and groan about ZvZ when it's like really boring passive builds every single game. But I think both of these guys, like Elazer for example, are willing to make it exciting. So spawning here in the southern spot takes that gas real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, the yellow Zerg player, Elazer.
And his opponent spawning up here in the top hand side, it is Team Liquid Snute.
So I figured Elazer, of the two of them, would be the first one to make the first move, I suppose. And this has, again, so much to do with their history. Snute is amazing at lane control, but so is Elazer. They're both really matched when it comes to that skill level. Like, I want to say a year ago, I would not have ranked Elazer up there with Snute. But about halfway through last year, something clicked for Elazer. He got really good, not just at this matchup, but at the other matchups too, and he was starting to keep on pace, on par with a lot of the pros, and just climbed his way up through WCS. He made it to BlizzCon after all. Like, Elazer had such a good 2016.
Semi-finals of BlizzCon as well. Like, it's been such a long time since we saw a foreigner go so far in such a high-level tournament, and he really has been powering up. Still hasn't won that big championship, but he's been getting better and better. And opening here with his very fast gas and pool opening. This is a one-base Ling Bane rush. He's going to run around the overlords on the map. And crazily enough, Snute has gone and taken this hatchery out on the low ground. Really exposed. I think he's just assuming that Elazer won't do an early rush here and really wants to maybe get out the creep spread nice and fast. But that hatchery is so exposed, it means he can't just use that tight ramp to his main base to defend. And that could be the one thing which allows Elazer's build to just destroy him. So Snute right now, you see his vision. He's not going to see these Zerglings pathing around the left-hand side, and he's just going to have to defend on the fly.
That's kind of interesting because I've actually seen, we've been casting a couple of these too, where the Ling sneak path actually ends up going right and up through the watchtower. By doing this, Elazer guarantees he's like not going to be seen, and that's cool, but he also doesn't get to quite peek as well, so it's an interesting way to go about it. It's not necessarily better or worse. But this base for Snute, man, this is going to feel so like all kinds of bad.
And the thing is, he just has no information. His Overlord isn't going to the back expansion. So Elazer can literally bank up Lings forever. I think he's going to go out very soon with this next wave of Lings popping. And he's Snute, oh my god, he might not even see the Lings leave the base straight away. His Overlord's going to the left. Oh man, Snute is just droning. He's building a third hatchery. He doesn't have a Baneling nest. He
still doesn't see the Lings. He still doesn't. Okay, now he sees the Lings for the first time.
This is just a this is brutal. Snute needs the most heroic defense of all time. His queens aren't properly positioned on his ramp right now. There we go. He is going to hold position them. He's going to abandon the base. He's building a spine crawler and a Bane nest. He's cancelled his third hatchery behind us.
I love the whole position.
Units.
I love the whole position. It's going to cost him a couple of drones, but it buys the queens a lot of time to deal more damage. Focus firing down one of the Banelings even. Elazer, of course, can't get too close with these. He needs to keep them alive for the pressure that follows as the queens begin to break. The Lings are starting to die, and those numbers are not exactly as scary as they were. But man, that's
Yeah.
that's the break right there.
Ling speed does kick in. Most of the Lings of Elazer are actually gone. If Snute spreads his drones really well, he can do this. He can't. Oh, the Banelings all go down. They only get 2 drones. The Spine Crawler's bruised, but it's still alive. Snute has held on for the moment. Can he stabilize? He's got 2 hatcheries pumping out Zerglings. Snute with a heroic defense so far. Another Queen pops out on the low ground. 2 more Queens. Has Snute actually managed to hold this?
Yeah,
Oh
yes. GG.
That could not have gone any better for Elazer in terms of like Snute just having no idea what was happening.
Like he perfectly snuck up the left side of the map. On top of that, like the 2 overlords missed the legs. It was only his own 2 lings that saw it. Like that game, that was first off great by Snute, but good by Elazer. This is why I love watching this kind of ZvZ, where you got players who are this good. This wasn't like a build order win. This wasn't a stupid mistake out of anybody. This was both of them playing very well, and someone just playing better.
That's a 1-0 lead there for Snute. What's interesting is thinking about it, right? Because he doesn't scout the back base or anything. He gets really late vision with the way he chose to scout and play that. Doesn't drone scout. Having the hatchery at the front does mean with the emergency reaction, he could pull the Queen to the ramp a lot faster than imagine if that hatchery was at his back door. The Queen wouldn't be able to get the way to the ramp in time. So maybe
that might actually be better. Yeah, like in a lot of cases. I never would have considered that, but that's actually such a good point.
So I really wonder if that's like part of his game plan, or if he just kind of is like, nah, I just want to like secure the front so I get a free third. Because like if you go to like you both just hatch first and then you have Ling Bane battles, it's really hard to secure the third base, right? Because you don't have creep down there. You can't bring queens down the ramp very easily. But with the way Snute opens, it's going to give him a much easier like later portion of the Ling Bane wars, where he's like, hey, I've just got 2 queens on creep down here. You know, I can take my third in the back. It's really safe. But it actually worked out there that he held on against the all-in. So very impressive. The drone hold position micro, the Queen focus fire on the Banelings as well. Really well played from Snute.
I'm going to pay you perhaps too big of a compliment here, by the way. So it's whatever, because you're a Zerg player. You used to play, you cast for like WCS, the Big Hut Show, whatever. But it's moment like, you know, I like Pig for a lot of reasons, guys. But it's moments like that where that's where I really respect his knowledge. Like, I would have never, ever put together on my own, at least, the idea of like the Queen being closer to the ramp. Because that is actually something I think was a really big deal. Just thinking on that map specifically. So that's good on you, Pig. Yeah,
Thanks,
you did
Graham.
good, Pig.
Thanks. You
Alright,
make me feel special and tingly inside.
Daybreak coming up for map number 2. We'll see what else happens here. I want to point out that while Elazer is willing to do a gas first in an early pull against Snute, Snute is just as willing to return the favor.
Oh yeah, Snute is someone who, he's not typically an all-in guy, but he will mix it in. He understands that you've got to kind of surprise and upset your opponent. You've got to play the full range of StarCraft. You know, you'll watch his stream and he'll like Ling Bane all in someone, and he'll kind of be like, there's this part of him where he's such a macro guy. He'll just be like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is kind of dumb. And he'll just like kill someone. And he'll be like, you know, I guess you need to do that, but that's a silly way to play StarCraft. It's always funny.
Well, we're getting into game number 2 here for the finals of the Corsair Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom left, he's down 1 game. It's the yellow Zerg player, Elazer.
And his opponent spawning the top right-hand side of Daybreak, taking a very commanding and confidence-boosting Game 1 victory. It is Liquid Snute.
So we have some people in chat that are trying to argue like Elazer had made a big mistake in that game. And maybe in the last death throws, like the choice to have the Baneling not, the third one not detonating close enough to the spine, like minor things like that, I will agree with you, was maybe a mistake. But that game was so perfectly played up until a very critical point. Like the critical mass, I think for me, when that game became deciding was when the Queens went down. Anything beyond that point was going to determine who won that game.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those things where, you know, there's so many small things you can change up in how you play. And maybe small changes do change the entire situation. But Snute, no matter what, definitely defended that really well. He split his drones very well against the Banelings. And you've got to remember, every second they delayed detonating, the Spine Crawler was going to snipe more of them off. So definitely a very, very tight situation. But here on Daybreak, both players are going to be opening up with a hatch gas pool. Snute with the slightly faster gas is going to have the earlier Zergling speed. That's going to give him a small window to have map control. But other than that, it will just progress in a more standard fashion.
By the way, I gotta ask. I'm assuming at some point on one of these Pig dailies, that game's gonna have to get discussed. as far as the queen tactics go.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think ZvZ defending early all-ins is something which, like, I need to, like, revisit as something I actually talk about, because it's something where, like, one base Ling Bane all-in will never leave the Zerg vs. Zerg meta. And, like, there's so many technicalities to how you defend, like, hold position queens and ramps and where you take your expansion and how you scout it and how to react. So that's something which is always worth revisiting. But hey, Elazer going for a really fast third hatch, and he's pulled 2 guys off gas, so playing very efficiently there. And Snute's also pulled 2 off gas, so both wanting to go for super economic play. Going to rely on just Zerglings for map control, and I think both guys are just going to jump straight to Roach Tech and skip the Banelings.
This kind of reminds me a little bit of PvP, at least old PvP, when the rule was like, oh, you're expanding, I guess now I have to as well. Like, they both do this in clear view of one another's overlords. They both know the expansions are down. There's no questioning that whatsoever.
And Snute actually does go for the Baneling Nest. Elazer scouted it with his Zergling, so he knows that's a Baneling Nest. Snute, not the kind of guy who likes to then cancel the tech structure and change his mind. And I think it's a solid way to play. As long as he doesn't overcommit to Ling Bane pressure and like throw them into roaches, it should be really good. But Elazer, on the other hand, going to go for the less mobile roach focused follow-up. So his Zerglings are going to have to avoid the Banelings when they engage on the map.
Dude, bruh, you just got a compliment from Nurchu in chat. You should screenshot that and print it out, frame it on the wall. Bruh.
That's a unique moment.
That is.
I love Nurture lately, man. This guy is
I know. He's been so awesome to watch, like throughout the whole Ravager and Fester phase of things too.
Oh yeah.
But okay, he's
nice
not here.
Ling pressure
So
coming in from Elazer. So he wants to keep back the Ling Bane. He doesn't want to allow Snute to like really force a frontal attack until he has roaches out at home. So he's got 5 roaches on the way to cover his defense. Notice Elazer is up a little bit in drones here with this aggressive tempo, taking some decent Ling trades, and this Queen actually putting on a good bit of hurt as well. Ooh, does get a few of his Zerglings surrounded there. Snute maybe overextending just a little bit. Behind this, Snute catching up in drones. Snute will have the map control for a moment, but actually pulling quite far back. I really think Snute needs to keep threatening and try to slow down Elazer droning this third. And this is Snute's moment where he's got to drone quite hard and try to get ahead. Either that or go for a big roach all-in of his own. Going to be very curious to see who tries to attack here, who tries to tech up.
I mean, when I saw the Baneliness still being made out of Snute too, I was thinking back to some of the old ZvZs where you would still have Banelings bust through roaches, but I think with the Ravagers being now around, that's not really an option so much anymore, is it?
Not necessarily. I mean, sometimes you can mix them in. They can be really helpful. Right now, though, Snute is massing the Zerglings. Way overreacting to this pressure. And Elazer comes in with the Zergling Scout, sees no drones on the third base, sees a massive Zerglings and Banelings there. He's got more Zerglings coming into the natural. This scouting from Elazer is so good. He sees a horde of Zerglings, and he's adding more roaches. Elazer just needs to turtle up and defend his 3 bases, and then he is way ahead.
The Ling makes it all the way to the main.
Snute faked the lair, so maybe that tricked Elazer a little bit. No, Elazer comes in with another Ling on the third, sees it is completely bare, and all Elazer's doing is massing roaches right now. He's building a spine crawler in his natural. He just needs to hang on and defend, and he is way up in workers. Snute going with a massive gambling attack here, but I think Elazer is a little bit too well prepared. He scouted it out. He's got a lot of roaches, but oh my god, that's a lot of Zerglings.
So the thing about Banelings, not bonus damage versus roaches, but that splash is good if it hits enough of them. Takes out some of the larvae too, but I don't think there's enough play. Well, hold the phone. We got some reinforcements coming from the other side too, so he might just be able to squash the roaches. But I feel like there needs to be so much more. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 roaches are about to pop out. It looks like Elazer scouted it just barely in time, got out just enough roaches. He loses the Queen, loses most of his roaches. He might grab a few drones, but what's the follow-up? Yes, Snute's catching up in drones, but he's way behind on upgrades. Look at the army supply. Elazer has a lot of roaches out right now. He's got +1 about to kick in. His lair is not finished. He actually cancelled his lair, I believe, but he's got so many roaches out with +1, and now Snute just needs to desperately try and buy time for that Spire to kick in. Snute knows he's on the back foot in a frontal engage, so he's trying to play the gambly game. He's not trying to catch up in a front-on fight. Go for the air units and try to work your way back in that way.
You know, when you say just enough roaches, I really want to emphasize to everybody, before the new round hatched, literally 1 roach was killing the last Lings. Like, that's how perfect that was for Elazer.
Oh, yeah. And right now, mass Zerglings are coming out to try and respond to this. Snute, he's going to counterattack with his Zerglings, but I think there's just enough Roaches and Queens on this hatchery once again. Elazer judging this so well. No Spine Crawlers down just yet. This attack isn't turning around. Elazer senses weakness. He's going to commit here. So many Roaches coming across the map. Keep in mind, these are +1 Roaches. They 2-shot Zerglings now rather than 3-shotting them. That's a huge boost in their effectiveness. And even though the Spire is finishing, a couple Queens, a couple Zerglings is not going to be able to buy enough time. I think by the time Mutas are out, these Roaches are going to shred this base. Snute has to make this defense work, but I think that's just too many Roaches, man.
I'm going to be on that same train. The Ravagers are going to be really nice too, but he does get put into a pretty nasty corner. Lings have some pretty nice surface area on most of the Roaches right in the front, but yeah, there's more behind this. The corner stands strong, and even if 7 Mutas spawn, it's going to take so long to clean up the Roaches. Like, eventually they would, right? Eventually the Mutas would win out, but not before all the drones died, not before the bases actually went down, not before the tech was sniped off. I mean, I think Elazer's got it.
Really decisive play by Elazer. Snute, I mean, even though his Ling Bane attack failed and that was horrible for him, he did such a good job here of trying to get back in this. He knew it was a gamble going towards Mutas with only some Zerglings on the map. But imagine if Elazer was even 30 seconds later with that assault. Suddenly Snute has Mutas out and maybe works his way back into that game. So I love the way Snute tried to get back in that game from behind, but Elazer's scouting. Holy crap, man. Those Zerglings saw everything that happened that game.
Well, I mean, this too, by the way, just like the fact that this is already 1-1, but the way it's gone 1-1, and like these games weren't walkovers, right? This wasn't somebody just like raffle stomping with Banelings. Like, these were pretty close games despite the time difference between them. We're going to be getting into Echo for Game 3, but a small commercial break before we get there. So thank you guys for watching. Stick around 2 minutes. More Snute and Elazer here in the finals. And remember, it's a best of 5, not a best of 3.
It's just funny.
Hey guys, we're back. And don't worry, it was not a funny joke. Pig's not funny. Oh no, don't black screen on me. God damn it, StarCraft. Not now. Not in front of company! Okay, Pig's here. I'm trying to press him. It's the first time. What do you guys do? Okay, there we go.
I keep getting it since the last patch. Whenever I click back to StarCraft on the loading screen, it always
white screen or whatever, right?
Yeah, and it even pops up on my computer with like, your program's not responding. Do you want to close it?
No,
and I always
I'm
feel
like,
like
can
I'm
you
gonna
be
accidentally
chill?
click on close program, and I'm like, no, let the game finish loading, damn it.
Yeah, I always hit wait, but it's like that wait button to me is just like, can you be chill, please? Like, come on. Anyways,
Come on, babe.
Welcome back. Oh, thanks for the nickname. Game number actually, you be babe because you're the pig.
Well, I was talking to the computer in this scenario. No, you're not. Sorry, Graham. We're not at that level yet.
Yeah, but I was thinking, like, that'll do, pig. That'll do.
All right. We can.
See, guys, I don't need a girl to make it cringy and awkward. I can do it with anybody. Anyways, game number 3 here for the Corsair Cup Grand Finals. Remember to check out Corsair and all the links down below for our sponsors, guys, as we get into this game. Bottom right, it's going to be the Red Zerg player, Team Liquid Snute.
And his opponent in the top left-hand side, BlizzCon semi-finalist, Polish Zerg. It is Elazer.
I think Beyond's maybe going to be one of the few players in StarCraft's history where you win like a big event and then still continue to win other things afterwards. Although, actually, no, I take that back because he lost the Alima League Finals the week after, so I take that back entirely. But that's the thing I always think is so interesting. It's hard to actually value people. Like, to say Elazer's a semi-finalist or a finalist at like some big event really doesn't mean anything, because when the tournament winner can't win like a weekly cup after winning a DreamHack type thing, you're kind of like, what does that really say?
Yeah, I mean, you can say, like, it would definitely be reductionist to be like, oh, Snute's round of 16 BlizzCon class player, Elazer's top 4 BlizzCon class player. It's like, well, it's not that simple. Snute won WCS Mexico. Snute, he recently won the Nordic tournament at DreamHack Winter
too, right? Like him versus Jaedong or whatever last year.
Yeah, he came second at GPL earlier this year against Harstem. Like, Snute is so consistent at making finals. He made the finals of Katowice as well, right? At the start of the year. Like, he makes so many big finals. He wins the occasional big championship. Elazer's like a top 8 guy usually. He's a guy who makes a lot of top 8 performances, the very occasional round of 4, but he hasn't got that same consistency as Snute just yet.
See, to me, that's the better description of things too, because that's something that you can take to any situation and apply it. I mean, obviously that's really nitpicky, guys, and like that's like my nose in the air being snooty about descriptions for things, but it's just so interesting how volatile StarCraft is, and I love that it's been like I know some people hate it. I love that it's been like that consistently throughout its whole existence.
Yeah, I mean, it's volatile, it's crazy, it's such a brutal game, and the thing is, because there's so many choices in the game, there's so many strategies, you can't simply rely on being better mechanically to consistently win. You know, you've got someone like Beyond where that's kind of what he does, and then people kind of figure it out and find ways to blind counter him. And he can't win absolutely every tournament. But anyway, might as well talk about the game at hand here. Elazer opening up with a faster pool first into hatchery opening, a very safe opening, but not getting too much damage done with the Zerglings, just denying the third of Snute for a few seconds there. Snute's still going to have the faster third base with his more kind of generic hatchery first build. He's actually coming across with a big speedling pressure right now. Zergling speed not even done here for Elazer. A few more lings pop out just barely in time, and with those two queens, will only just be able to hang on. If those Zerglings were even a little bit later, I think Snute could have got some damage done there. But interesting to see the role reversal from last game. This time, Snute skipping Baneling Nest, and Elazer going to be going Banelings.
I feel so bad when you can't hear the donation noise. That's like totally just talking over you for like 1 second.
Sorry, man. No worries. That's all good.
By the way, big thank you to Hero Marine. I'm sorry that there's no Terran here as we're in the finals of his ZvZ, but thank you for that big host, man. Big love. Hope you had a good stream. We'll get to the donation in a moment because the fight's underway and Snute's scrapping it out in the middle of the map. These queens are really off creep, though, and I think he's realizing, like, hey, wait, that's a big priority target to pick off.
It's kind of like a bait, though. He actually gets a great engage there, does Elazer. Elazer's got 31 Zerglings against 18. He's way ahead in Zerglings. He's making Banelings. This time it's Elazer who's going for the giant YOLO Ling Bane attack. He's like, YOLO Jenkins. I'm just going to roll over your face right now.
Well,
grabs
Snoot's
queen in the open.
Oh, that's such a big pick off, too, because Snute needs those to snipe off the Banelings that are coming.
Oh, yeah. He's brought down another queen from his main. He is building his own Baneling Nest, but it's not ready yet. Snute's Zerglings are not going to be effective here if Elazer micros this. Oh, God. It's all about the micro. Snute needs to avoid those Banelings. Great focus fire from his queens. The Banelings go down, but so do the queens at the same time. Snute holds, but Elazer does snipe off the queens. Snute is up a couple of workers. They're both on 3 bases. This is a very close game still.
Well, he's not got any Banelings on the front line just yet. He sees those 2 morphin in, and I think it's a good call to fall back from that. That would have been way too dangerous to try and micro around that. A couple of his own Banelings finishing up at home, though, so he shouldn't be too caught off guard by Elazer in this instance.
Whoa. Looks like both sides have Banelings now. I don't think either player will be able to press their advantage too much more. They're just going to vie for map control, try to force more units out of the other guy. Elazer's droning up quite hard behind this, using his aggressive positioning very well. Banelings trading on each other. Snute's still got to be very careful. His queens are going to come out and try to support his defense. He's only got 1 Baneling left here. Snute's got to be careful.
This one's all you need, though. Oh, it's so close for Elazer, getting really tight on that.
Oh, great Baneling hit from Elazer. Massive. Takes out a huge ball of Zerglings. The queens are exposed. That Baneling just a little bit too slow there for Snute. And I think Elazer is finding the damage. He's up 5 workers behind this and takes a fantastic trade. Gets the queens once again. And Elazer here really putting the pressure onto Snute and forcing himself into quite a decent position. I think Snute needs to get back across that map. He needs to create some space for himself right now. He can't let Elazer just kind of be on his side of the map because Elazer is such a fast player. We see him edging ahead in workers here, taking good trades, but at the end of the day, somehow Snute's still up in supply because he is a god.
I mean, that was a good start to the army fight for Elazer, no doubt about it, but the fact that there wasn't any way to get to the main, the fact, you know, he didn't have enough Banelings left over to kill drones even, he wasn't able to capitalize on the win. Like it was like a hollow victory.
Oh, very few units left at home for Elazer. Just going to try and defend here with this small Lingbane Queen force. It's Snute's chance to try and get some advantages here. He does have that superior army count right now.
He really wants to knock down that wall so he doesn't have to worry about these lings running by, and I think that's a smart choice, but 12 health, finish it off. He can't. He's got to save the queens. They've got transfuses, so it's not too dangerous. Oh, he's a pretty nasty Baneling hit. Snute, you know, you talked about Elazer droning hard. Snute just put on 15 drones, by the way.
Yeah, goodbye worker lead for Elazer there. Elazer does have +1.
Oh, nope! Oh, he almost ran face first into those Banelings. So close.
This skirmish is just so intense. Both players really are just trying to distract their opponent and put on pressure. They're not trying to go all in here. They're just trying to create space for themselves and find good trades and then get themselves ahead by adding in small rounds of drones between this. This is a bit of an iffy fight for Elazer, but he's got so many Zerglings that Snute really needed to pull those Zerglings back and let the Queens tank. Because he didn't do that, he's lost a lot of his damage output. Transfuse is doing a good job, but he will lose all of these Queens. And his own roaches are only now popping out. He'll lose one more queen for his trouble, but he's got 3 queens behind that, so it's not like he's losing in jacks. Not the end of the world. And at the end of all that, Snoot's up on workers, but behind in upgrades.
So while this has looked not so bad and kind of even on trades back and forth, I do want to bring attention to the resources lost tab though, and that kind of shows you those gains that Elazer's been getting despite not getting to the mineral lines and despite not killing the drones. I would also like to give a big shout out to Alice for that $10 donation. He says, awesome games, awesome casting. And once again, thanks, Pig, for joining me. If you guys do want to give some money towards Pig, 50% of the donations there going his way. So while we're in the finals, it's playing a little sellout moment to say, get him in while you can.
Thank you so much for the support, guys. We really do appreciate it. Thank you, Rifkin, for having me on. And right now, Elazer is frozen on drones. He is amassing roaches. He has +1. Notice no lair, no roach speed. This is the classic Elazer +1 mass roach Zergling Ravager attack. This is so scary to play against Snute. He's up 14 workers. He's been up in workers for ages. But does he realize this is coming? He's got to get home. Those queens need to get out of there. Snute needs to use defensive positioning to his advantage. He cannot fight this in the open because he is down 20 army supply right now and down an upgrade.
Yeah, the +1's going to hurt a lot. Angle for the engagement's not too bad to start. Elazer with a nice spread, but the ramp makes it really awkward to push in.
Nice corrosive vials from both sides, trying to break the concave for the other player. Oh, Elazer here. He's coming into a nice angle. He's going to try and force his way in. He knows he needs to do the damage right here, right now, and I think he might just barely have the numbers to overwhelm. Yeah, that +1 is so important, man. Overwhelming the roaches of Snute, just crushing his way on through. Overwhelming. Every single unit goes down, and there's still such a big ball of roaches for Elazer left over.
Before this fight began, by the way, I just showed in stream, we didn't get to talk about it. 9 queens were killed throughout this aggression leading into this. That's so much minerals in the hole for Snute before this fight even began.
That is actually insane. And that, I mean, Elazer just kept taking those good trades, right? And it was impressive that Snute hung on as long as he did, but it's one of those things, right, where like Snute invested in more economy, so he could kind of afford to take worse trades.
Yeah. While
Elazer, you know, had to take good trades in order to stay even. But Elazer just kept taking sick trades and put on so much pressure. And even though it looked like Snute was still ahead in workers after all that, Elazer had the +1. And he went for the attack, which Snute didn't scout. He didn't realize there were no drones on the third base for Elazer. And not realizing that, just going way too far ahead in drones, not having his own upgrades behind it, like, he would have needed spine crawlers. He needed to take down his own rocks and really just use defensive positioning to hang on there. But he was caught pretty unawares. And I don't know, man. Elazer just super decisive. I think that's a great way to play ZvZ. Just attack, force good trades. And there's such a good chance that if you're the one constantly attacking and in your opponent's face, they're not going to have the APM or the actions or the attention to think, I need to check his saturation on his third base to see if he's all inning or not. So there's just that one moment of inattention that he forced out of Snute. And then Snoot's just completely unprepared for the attack and gets overwhelmed.
Well said, Pig. Quickly catching up, by the way, we had a sub coming from Radish Gas. Thank you so much for the new sub. Bangdozo cheers 105 bits, says he lost a bunch of Partoofs. Oh, that sucks. But he watched ads to get the bits, so hey, that's awesome, man, and it's certainly helpful. We are going to go to a commercial break real quick before we hop in this game, but the last thing to bring up out of chat, Gambino TV says, was Prime only for 1 month? I use my Prime on you, BaseTradeTV, but it says I'm not a sub. Yeah, so your Prime is only like a 1-month subscription that doesn't reoccur. You have to manually reapply it. And if you use it on someone else, then you lose the ability to use it for a month. It's awesome and it's great and it's free, but a lot of people don't seem to, like, they didn't put enough information out about it. A lot of people don't even know that they have to manually resub and all that. So thank you to those who do. Like Influence One with the Twitch Prime sub right before the break. See you guys soon. Okay, we're back, and just in time, you probably heard the little bit of a bits noise from Bronjk, however you say that name. Thank you for the 105 bits, friend. We're going to get into game number 4. If you guys are just joining us, this is the finals for the Corsair Cup. It is currently 2-1 in the favor of our red Zerg player, but spawning here in the bottom left, he is on his last life. It is the red, oh sorry, no, it is the blue Zerg Snute. Nailed it.
Nice. And his opponent up here, oh, down here in the bottom right-hand side, it is Elazer.
Of course, the other man on the other side of the microphone is Pig, for those who don't know him. He's planning to stream after this is all said and done, so if you guys don't know, quick TLDR, he is a Zerg player, and he does really informative streams. We'll be hosting him up afterwards, so if you've liked what you've heard so far today, you can get a little bit more after the stream's all said and done. But this might be the last game, I don't know. Elazer's gonna get a bit aggressive here on Newkirk Precinct. That gas pool timing though.
Elazer is such an interesting player, you know. I remember playing against Elazer on ladder back in 2014 when he was just this kind of like, you know, highest GM guy who was starting to get up that ladder, wasn't really known. And then suddenly in 2015, I'll never forget kind of interviewing him after winning some of his matches, or winning one of his matches at WCS, and he just kind of like come onto the scene, and suddenly he was having these like sick games with like Polt and everything, and he was just like playing so well. I remember like asking him, you know, like, oh, you know, you play this really aggressive style, like, do you have any players you look up to? And he was just like, oh, you know, like, I just see myself as European life. Like, it wasn't like I look up to life. He was just like, I'm just like really, really good, and I can beat everybody, and I play really aggressive. And I'm like, cool. Like, ever since he came onto the scene as a young, like, I think he was 17 at the time or 16, he was just so confident, like almost arrogant to some extent. Like, and it was really great to see because he plays with that confidence. He's a guy who really attacks in multi-prongs and kind of runs away with the tempo of games a lot. So I just love seeing that from him. This build order from Elazer is just incredibly weird. This is amazing. Throwing this hatchery at the front, making it kind of look like he's gonna, you know, be doing some weird 3-hatch build, maybe throwing Snute off his game, and I guess it allows him to take the safe and natural behind that.
So funny that you bring up that story, because I have like a counter story from this BlizzCon. I went up to Elazer right before he was going to play, and I did a quick like 30-second phone interview, and I was like, quickly, who do you think's going to win, you or the other guy? I can't remember who was playing at the time. And he's like, Dark's gonna win everything because I'm just gonna lose this. I'm like, well, there's your interview with the Elazer guys. So good luck, have fun. Like, tweeted it out. It got some good laughs. It got some retweets, but it's just like complete opposite reaction of what you've just described.
Yeah, I think the BlizzCon pressure gets to even the most confident players, like especially going up against Dark, like the god of Zerg.
Oh, Snute's about to get a nasty supply block with that Overlord getting picked off, and with all the lings darting across the map and that third hatchery down. This isn't shaping up too hot.
Man, these two banelings already were nice queen positioning here from Elazer. Yeah, good. Snute here, nice queen positioning. Zerglings minimize the baneling damage, but these queens are getting focused down. He doesn't have any more queens on the way. Snute has a lot more Zerglings coming out. Great pullback on the queens. Great pull down of the drones as well. Snute's defensive micro, impeccable as always. Has to cancel his third hatch though. His baneling nest only now finishing. But here we go. He can now skirmish on even terms with Elazer. His own banelings coming in just a little bit behind Elazer's. Snute accidentally pulling drones from his main base, or is it even an accident? I don't know. Snute might be falling apart a little bit under the pressure. Elazer putting him in such a hard position. Snute cannot afford any mistakes. Some good baneling hits for Elazer. Runs into the main base, but I think Snute has enough units to defend this. Good defense from Snute. Stabilizes on an even work account.
Oh, both these players getting really dangerous dancing with those banelings like that. Oh, God.
You can't even commentate this. You just groan and scream because
you just clench your butthole. That's all you can do. That's all you can do watching this. Okay, so Snute, as you put it, like he holds. But the interesting about this, I was gonna bring up, but then the fight started, was thinking on Elazer's base. Okay, maybe it was a little bit for the tricky position for the scouting, but it's actually closer. So if he was gonna continue the aggression, he does spawn, you know, that much closer.
Yeah, this is definitely a really aggressive move. It did allow him to snipe off that Overlord as well, which you pointed out, and it's so cute, right? Because you see that third hatch and you think like, whoa, is this 3-hatch pool? What's going on? And then suddenly there's a queen and there's this Ling Bane attack. So it's very easy to surprise your opponent with that assault. But Snute managed to hold on. He's got his third base up. He's got a few extra banelings hanging on behind this. Both players just skirmishing here, looking for these good trades, trying to split off individual Zerglings onto their opponent's banelings. Neither player can let all their banelings go down, or the other guy will just dive in onto their economy. So both players just dancing back and forwards here, looking for those trades.
You know, I always think this looks so easy to do, and then I'll try and replicate it and just like A-move all my lings and mess it all up. So really impressive to watch Elazer barely keep some of these banelings alive. The awkward drone rally is awkward.
He's got that sick micro. I really do feel like Elazer is just got the edge slightly in these Ling Bane battles. He seems to be the guy who's a little bit more willing to kind of go a bit deeper on Snute's territory and attack, whereas Snute really focuses on using the queens to have an efficient, kind of minimalistic defense. But so far, Elazer keeps finding damage in these games. Once again, Snute needs to keep these Banelings alive. He cannot afford those Banelings to go down. These Banelings, he's the last one. He needs to keep that alive. It babysits the queens. The moment, there we go, transfuse on the Baneling.
That's how important that was. Yo,
yeah, otherwise those Zerglings just dive on the queens, and if they go down, same thing as last game happens again.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the thing with the laser and his control. I feel like Snute is like the perfect macro guy, and the laser's a pretty good micro guy. If Archon mode ever actually ended up being a thing, these two would be a sick Zerg Archon, seriously.
Oh yeah.
Like Snute's macro with the laser's control. Oh, that'd be dirty.
Right now, Snute stabilized with a small worker lead, but already 14 roaches popping out here for Elazer. You talked about that short rush distance between the thirds before, and it looks like Elazer wants to take advantage of that. Notice he's pulling up his roaches just outside of the Overlord vision, and he's going to group up and go for one huge assault all at once. Nice Zergling counterattack from Elazer there as well, grabbing some drones on the third, while picking off a Baneling on the front, just finding these little edges at every corner.
You know, I love that this is, you know, skinned roaches versus not skinned roaches. First off, it makes it easier to watch. But secondly, Elazer feels almost like a bad guy in this instance. Like, he's got the spiky evil roaches against the heroic Snute who's fighting his
He's trying to hide his roaches right now as well. The Zerglings see it, though. The Zerglings come up. They see that
so that's going to trigger the fight. He's going to go?
Yep. He needs to go. The thing is, Snute already built a big round of drones. He is up at 48 drones versus 34. He's going to have to use queens, transfuse, and just desperately trying to use positioning to hold on against the superior numbers of Elazer. Keep in mind, there's no upgrade advantage this time, no +1 range. There will be a lot of Zerglings flooding in behind this, so Snute needs to keep the ball of roaches alive. Even if he loses maybe the hatchery, it might be okay. He's just got to survive this attack.
23 to 18, like, Elazer doesn't have like, an impossibly like hard to beat lead, but man, drones are bleeding out at the front line. Snute's roach count finally catching up. Some ravages in the backside from Elazer.
And nice wraparound from the Zerglings. Not overwhelming just yet. Snute's being really patient with how he backed off. But there's still so many roaches left here for Elazer.
Snute has literally been halved in the roach count at this point. This feels pretty bad. I think once Snute had the numbers, they were just coming down the ramp, but they weren't all here on the front line. So the snowball's kind of kicking in, and this might be just a little too far gone. If Elazer wins this fight, he wins the series, and he wins first place in the Corsair Cup.
Elazer here, overwhelming with such decisive play, constantly using the power of aggression in Zerg vs. Zerg. Snute has to tap out, and Elazer puts on a masterclass of aggressive timing attack-oriented Zerg vs. Zerg. Damn well played, man. Very impressive.
Certainly worked for that first place. Of course, what's awesome about the Corsair Cup is it's not the biggest prize pool, but it's been consistent, like every week since January type thing. And $100 is the prize pool. $60 goes to Elazer for first place. $20 going to go to Snute for second place. So still not terrible. That's a free dinner is what that is. And then of course you got 10 for third and fourth place. Billowy and I can't remember who. Mana. That's what it was. But Pig, I want to give you time to set up your stream while I say all my goodbyes. So I'll send you first.
Aww.
Give us your shoutouts. If people enjoyed you, where can they find more of you?
Pig Starcraft on YouTube or X5Pig on Twitter and stuff. I guess I'll throw a few links in chat if that's all right, just so people can click on them.
Just make sure you wait for the delay, otherwise it's gonna look really awkward when you start spamming them now. 3 minutes in the past.
Yeah, I'll just get those ready. So after the GG pops down and so on, I will. You guys can follow me on my Twitch and Twitter is all I'll post there. I guess I'll post my YouTube as well, since that's a thing which I spend a lot of time doing these days. But yeah, massive thanks for having me on, man. Big thanks to, of course, Corsair and stuff for sponsoring your tournament. And it was a pleasure to cast with you for the first time. A massive thanks to everyone who subbed and tipped and everything during the stream. And even bigger thanks to you for actually being nice enough to share those tips with me today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to stream some, well, I like to say GM random, but my Terran's like Masters 1-ish at best at the moment. My Terran's atrocious, so I'm going to go play some random, reasonably high-level play ladder, do some commentary and stuff. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
It was great having you. Thanks for helping save my day, too. It's always fun to have a friend rather than solo cast. Of course, we'll be hosting Pig in a moment, guys, so as we go to commercial break, we'll kick him off, and you guys will have plenty of time to go find his Twitch channel, but if you can't be bothered to do that, just chill, and we'll host him up after. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. Alright guys, just Rifkin here to say goodbye. A quick reminder, all the subscribers, to check your inboxes a little bit later tonight. I'll be sending out the replay packs from today in case any of you guys want those juicy replays. We're going to be hosting Pig Up, and I've done the tally, about 65.50 cents ish. Someone donated 33 cents earlier, so I'm like rounding it up. Will be about what I'll be sending his way. I'm just going to go donate that to him on his stream after we host him up. So do me a favor, give him a base raid, Ace 1, Ace 2 in chat, all that good stuff. Thank you for joining us on the Corsair Cup. Thank you for joining myself, and I'm assuming some of you guys were joining Zombie up this morning earlier when she was solo casting. Thank you guys for just constantly supporting us here on the channel. Everything else we're doing for the rest of the week is pretty much all Korean/Korean time stuff. So we got like Lee Fang Cups, we've got Make Korea Great Again. We got a lot, like we're still casting every single day, but it's going to be a little bit early in the morning. So I'll try and see if I can set up some rebroadcasts. Some of you guys seem to have really enjoyed that when we did it last time, but yeah, quite a bit of early mornings for the next few days. In fact, it's going to be, Lee Fang Group D tomorrow, then the Lee Fang Finals, then Make Korea Great Again, then you got WCA, Shoutcraft, and all this other stuff going on that we're not casting. We might have some time off, or we'll find something to cast during that time. I don't know. But we're done here on the channel, so do me a favor, follow me on my Twitter at riff_kings. I've got a Patreon I'd love for you guys to check out. Theron, I don't know who you are, but you just threw $100 into my Patreon. You're a fucking legend, man. Thank you so much. And of course, all those who subscribe and all these other things to support the channel, you're great too. But other than that, our sponsors are kind of up in the air right now. Corsair is the only sponsor we're really locked into. I love Chairs for Gaming. I'm excited to work with them in 2017. We have plans and have talked about it, but our sponsorship's on a temporary hiatus. We may or may not be done with G2A. I'm still wrestling with this decision pretty hard. Some of you were around when we had the real talk about it. It's not an easy decision to make. But other than that, just check out Corsair. They're the sponsor of this cup. They're still sponsoring more of these going into December. And, yeah, thanks for tuning in today, guys. I hope you have a good one. And make sure to give Pig some proper love. Goodbye!